Chickweed likes to grow in disturbed earth, so out in nature you'd find it where animals have been digging around a bit underneath a tree or a bush perhaps, but humans create their own patches of disturbed earth, things like garden borders, plant pots or greenhouse borders like this one in this rather unkempt greenhouse. Now chickweed starts to appear around about early springtime, and as long as it's got a nice source of water it will continue to produce leaves right up until late autumn time. It doesn't like extreme cold and it doesn't like extreme drought, but other than that you can find it most of the year. We'll take a bit of a closer look at it now so we can see how to identify it. The first thing we're going to talk about is chickweed's growth habit. So it grows in really long stem, like tendrils. So the stems are really long with leaves in pairs going up the stem. It's shallow rooting, which is why it likes disturbed earth. So if I just flip this over here and get down to the base of this plant, I'm just going to pull this here and you can see it actually comes up really easily. So if I pull this out, you can see I've got a big clump of chickweed there. Just put that over to one side for a moment. Right, I'll grab a stem here and we'll have a bit of a closer look. So we've got pairs of eye-shaped oval leaves going up the stem, and they're quite widely spaced as well. They're not all bunched together, they're quite widely spaced apart. Sometimes you get another little shoot of growth coming off from the base of what's called the leaf node. So it shoots off over that way there, and sometimes, depending on the time of year, we'll have some flowers. Now this is a flower of chickweed. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm going to try and zoom in. There we go. Now it looks like there are 10 petals here. Actually there are 5 and they're split down the middle, so it gives the impression that there's 10. So the flowers are white, 5 petals, although it looks like there are 10. They look like little stars, which is where it gets its scientific name from, Stellaria media. Stellaria means looks like a star. Now there are a couple of poisonous lookalikes of chickweed, and the first one I'm going to mention is Scarlet Pimpernel. Now Scarlet Pimpernel has either red, blue or purple flowers, so we can tell that apart from chickweed because chickweed has white flowers. There is another one, Spurge, one of the euphorbias, which is quite seriously poisonous if consumed in any great amount, and that doesn't really have flowers that look like this. They look a bit more like leaves, they have a bit of a yellow tinge to them, but when it is very small it does look remarkably similar to chickweed. So it has pairs of leaves going up the stem like this. Now also, when Scarlet Pimpernel isn't in flower, or chickweed is in flower, we may get them confused. So there is another way we can rule out Scarlet Pimpernel and Spurge. Here in front of us we have a stem of chickweed. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in a little bit more closely on the chickweed, and what we're looking for is this line of hair that you can see running down the stem. Now if I rotate this around slowly, you should see that that disappears and it comes back into shot. When it is back on the edge again, then you can see it disappears. Now that single line of hair, which just runs up one line on one edge of the stem, you don't get that on Scarlet Pimpernel or Euphorbia. Now if I go up to the next section of stem, you'll see that that line of hair doesn't carry on in a straight line. So I'm just going to attempt to rotate this around here, and you can, there we go, just see that line of hair appearing there, and it's disappeared again. So that is the way we can rule out Scarlet Pimpernel or Euphorbia from chickweed. And just to give you a really close look at it, here it is in super zoomed. So just rotate it round, and then you can see that line of hair there. What does chickweed taste like? Well, it tastes a little bit like pea shoots, and if you've got a lot of salt in your soil, you'll get a little bit of a salty taste to it as well. It's really good for use as a salad bulker because you can find it in lots of abundance when you do find a patch of it. Really, it's one of those plants that's classed as a weed that I think people should just leave. The reason it is so abundant in this greenhouse is because when I've got my tomatoes and my courgettes and cucumbers growing, I let the chickweed just take over the greenhouse border. It acts as a little bit of a mulch, and it also means I've got something to harvest while I'm waiting for those other plants to fruit. Gives me a bit of green salad as well. So look for chickweed in your garden borders, in your plant pots, in your greenhouse borders, and remember, look for those long stems with that line of hair, and if it is in flower, those little tiny white flowers with the 5 petals split down the middle. Hope you enjoy your chickweed.